I'm live. I'm live. Welcome. Should I turn on a light? Ooh. Welcome to the Will Studios. We're live. Share my tablet real quick. All right, there we go. Welcome to the Will Studios. I'm sitting here drawing, and I'm figured why not stream? Why not share what I'm doing with my audience since I haven't produced a video in over a week because I've been working on release. Everything is going to be coming together once I have like 15 pages. Then I'm going to be really whipping myself into shape. I'm going to stop like leaning forward like this. I gotta like actually look like anyway. You can see what I mean. Someone told, well, I guess I already started saying it. Someone told me I looked like Pete Buttigieg the other day at the bar. And I was pissed until the next morning. Do I really? God damn it. So anyway, here, going back over my picture of page 10. I felt like his proportions were off here. This is obviously the android has landed on the street. He's about to board this bus, and then the plot will continue to happen. But I felt like he looked like he's like an angry dwarf or something. So I'm like, I gotta fix that. I don't like. Here, I'll go ahead and go back to what I was doing. I don't like this arm, right? It's just a little bit too like dead on. And so I've already made his head a little bit smaller. And I'm just going to kind of rethink the way he's standing. Because I had him kind of hunched over, like, because he's thinking about where he's going. But then I'm like, he is an android, Would he emote in that way? Or would it be better to see him as more alien? And so make him stand up a little bit straighter, but do have him sort of identify what his next objective is. He's an objective, goal-oriented robot. Okay? Very important that he keeps his eye on the ball because he's trying to get away. He's trying to get away from the coppers. Because the Silver Guardian is hot on his trail. Tracking him down from the explosion, from the experimental facility. Mm-hmm. It's funny how it's like, okay, I think of how this makes sense and how I want it to go, but until it's actually like published, I'm still like, wonder if I can do this a little bit better. I wonder if I could make this. How do I explain this perfectly? Stuff. But, I kind of love it a little bit. I'd like to be a writer, please. I'd like to finish creating something, and if people could enjoy it, that'd be, lucrative, hopefully. I'm kind of a shut-in when it comes right down to it, because I am just here 90% of the time working on this. I tend to, I joke around saying I ignore my family. But I mean, other dads are working on Lego cities in the garage, okay? I'm working on a comic book. So I do okay. My family loves me. I do good. One thing that I kind of do sometimes is instead of putting it like that, once I actually start making the videos again, and I turn this into kind of a lesson, I'm going to be like, make sure you remind yourself of what plane things are, because in your autopilot artist brain, you're just drawing an arm. Or at least that's how I work. I don't know. I don't actually talk to too many artists about their process. But I'll get out of my house more often, a little bit maybe. I'm a bartender here in Columbus, and you know what? I won't say any names, but there's a somewhat famous cartoonist that has like a successful independent comic book guy that lives around here. And, so I finally met someone in the wild that is successful at the thing that I want to do. And so that was nice. He said my cover looked good. And that's, I also think it looks good. So I'm going to say that he was not just being nice, and that if it looked like crap, or, I mean, I'm a grown man with a mustache. So if it looked like I didn't have any talent, hopefully he would tell me so. But, real life is not the internet. And I chatted with him briefly about, like, just the independent comic book scene and just what I've been exposed to, as far as, like, different personalities and how much money people are making and what's going on. And he was, like, not at all familiar with, like, 99% of it. And it reminds me of something I was thinking about early on with this, because originally I had no idea about anything with the independent comic books, because I was just focused on, I need to make a good comic book. And I was just writing stories and getting my engine going, and stuff like that. And it was only 2023 when I restarted my Twitter account that I even found out about Comicsgate and that sort of stuff. I was already aware of Eric July through the YouTube Friday Night Tights stuff, because I freaking hated Game of Thrones. And if you watch movies, you're going to find those guys. So hopefully he didn't, Hopefully he wasn't like put off. I don't think he was. I'll see him again. He literally, like, I had waited on him many times without even realizing like that he was that guy, because I don't stalk creators. I don't know what most of them look like. And I don't even remember most of their names. Like, I need to be told these things. If I hadn't randomly decided to Google it one day because somebody was like, "Oh, have you met so and so?" Because I talk to people and be like, "So, what's your deal?" And I'll be like, "Well, I'm trying to make a comic book in my spare time." "Oh, have you met this guy?" "Oh, no, never met him." And then one day I Googled him and I'm like, "Oh, that's the guy." And I'd never actually read. I was aware of the comic books. Uh, it's Jeff Smith. I dug up, the one bone thing that I knew that I had. It's just sitting right here. This long box next to me is full of Ninja Turtles comic books. Uh, like, I have a ton of Ninja Turtles comic books, and I was looking for a particular one, and this was just in there, and I was like, "Oh yeah, people were telling me he lives in the neighborhood." And then I Googled him, and I'm like, "Oh, he's a very distinctive face. I know exactly who that is." And then I started reading it because I'm like, "Hey, I'll do a little review." And I told him a little bit about how I review things, where it's like I'm going to read it. And I didn't tell him I was going to review any of his stuff, but I was going to read it and then see if I could write it better. And honestly, so far, I really like it. The only thing that I would change, Bone is like, from what I've read, I've only read, how many pages did I get to? I'm like 20 pages deep into this thing. And it is kind of like Roger Rabbit, where everybody's very serious, but then you got these random cartoon characters that are just funny. And it's not like ha funny, it's like situational funny. They stick out. And it took, oh yeah, what would the only thing that I don't like so far is that they keep saying rat creatures, rat creatures, rat creatures, because these rat creatures are apparently very dangerous. And they probably explained how dangerous and what they were in the first 7 volumes of this thing. But I just feel like, could you not think of another word to call them? Like a name, like, was were rat. I guess were rats too on the nose. I'm not gonna be able to come up with a name right. Hey, maybe he just, I don't know. Maybe I'll ask him. He might just be like, oh, but honestly, I really like the writing and the style. You know, I have a hard, because no comic book style is like real life, right? Like, people say, "Oh, he's a realistic comic book artist," but that, to me, it means he's like trying to use correct proportions and stuff like that. People are going to look at my art, and a lot of them are going to be like, "He's very realistic." But I really just I'll draw the way that I'm comfortable. I'm just autistic. But there's that part of me that's like, man, I wish I could develop something that's maybe a little looser, I get the feeling like that like he draws very quickly, so I'm jealous. I'll get faster, better. Like, it took me forever to produce that cover just because I didn't know what my art really looked like. Oh, good, I'm back. Screen definition optimizing. Anywho, back to drawing. I think I fixed the proportions. They at least look better than they did a moment ago. And this is, I'm enhancing the underdrawing here for him, and I'm still kind of working out, like I'm like 99% there. It's, most comic book creators probably really work out exactly what their characters are going to look like before they start drawing them, but not me. I'm still like thinking, because I'm gonna go back and redo all these pages. I'm putting out a rough draft right now for free, and then I'm still like, okay, exactly what does every part of this look like? How do I make him not look like Iron Man? He should look more alien, but Earth made. So I'm thinking like his mechanics kind of flow more like it's muscle, like he's muscled. But then some parts of him will be like paneled out. But yeah, Jeff, they're like, oh yeah, have you met Jeff? Have you met Jeff? Like, you know what? Now I have finally met Jeff. I didn't just shake a martini for him. He told me I need to come to the Cartoonist Crossroads event. And that'll be good to meet more people in real life. On the road to 27 pages, on the road to my first hook being finished. On the road again. I just gotta draw metal forearms on the road again. Exactly how complex are his little insides? This is where I realize that head was no good. Turns out that head was no good, guys. Turns out the more I look at it, the more I realize it was just a little off. Someday I'm going to draw it right the first time, and I'll just be able to make issues like that, I told him I wanted to do a biannual release for release. And he was like, what? But then he was kind of like, you know what? Because he was trying to do every 2 months, and that was killing him. I'm like, don't be doing that, bud. He seemed like a good guy. I briefly touched on politics or whatever. I brought up Comicsgate and how I listened to the anti-woke people on the YouTubes. And, I have a dream that we just don't have to talk about that shit. And that sort of thing won't drive people into different camps, because come the fuck on. Like, I'm not running for president, okay? we all read different news sources, and our heads are filled with different stuff, and you really gotta be careful if you're listening to someone who's really trying to get you to be angry, you know? That just don't listen to those people. Because fuck those people. Like, there's people who vilify the Comicsgate community because it was founded for kind of politically driven purposes, right? Where I've only seen a little bit about John Delarose, but he was like politically outspoken, conservative type of guy. Like, was he excommunicated from comic books? I know I have vague memories of seeing his name on comic books, but I haven't like really looked him up. And then you have Ethan Van Sciver, who I'm very familiar with because I grew up reading his comic books in high school. I loved Green Lantern, and I watch his YouTube and stuff like that, and he seems all right to me. But then lots of people think he's an asshole. I'll give everyone the benefit of the doubt, man. I will give everyone an opportunity to show me that they are an asshole. Just as a personal favor, human to human. And that goes for everybody, That even goes for the people in the Ed Piskor suicide note, Alex DeCampi, that one guy, what's his face? There's like, 6 people there? But there's a whole host of people that like Ethan Van Sciver rants about that, hey, it's just me. I'm whatever. I don't hate anybody. I just want to make comic books, man. I hate the idea that I'm stepping in to some tribal bullshit that could like sink me if I make the wrong connections. And that's a very real fear, unfortunately. But like, Jeff Smith never heard of Eric July until I just told him about him. It'll be good when I have something of my own and people give a shit about my opinions about anything. But I only care about me. I'm like, I'm not here for anyone else's reputation. I'm not hooking my wagon onto anyone else's. I am my own wagon. I got a team of oxen. My freaking work speaks for itself, and it's awesome. But I feel like I'm more mature than some of the people that I see online. I think that'll work in my favor. I think it'll be good. Or not. it might blow up in my face. I might, being a reasonable person might actually be a setback. I might experience more success if I am more unhinged in my approach. But we'll see. We'll see. On the road to 27 pages. By the time I have 20 pages to show, and I've grown my following a little bit, and I have more than 0 people watching my live streams, it'll be like, he's too extreme. He has something to say about woke Hollywood. No gays allowed. I'm just kidding. I love the gays. They're fun. I just couldn't imagine being what are the words I want to say? Like pumping the brakes. Because, people talk about like gender being on a spectrum, and sometimes I get it, because when I see gay people out there hanging out and they seem so like comfortable in their own skin, and I'm like, nobody should be that comfortable. We all need to be like stoic, you know what I mean? Like, even if you don't have like heavy burdens, you should act like it. That's just me. I envy people that don't have that monkey on their back. Like, that's a monkey on my back. You know what I mean? That's you're a dad, walk straight, project strength, be a man. Like, not everyone has that monkey on their back, I guess. And they can just drink Pinot Grigio. I'm never going to be so relaxed that I drink Pinot Grigio. I want the roughest scotch that you can give me. I want to make myself feel pain, because that's what life is. Never-ending pain. And I stand by those remarks. Give me gin, neat. Don't even put ice on it. Give me Amaro. Give me Montenegro just by itself. I need to imagine myself back in time as a monk. But I guess what I'm saying, it's a very feminine energy to just be like sort of carefree. I don't really have much of that. Should I focus on this robot, or should I move on to the people? I think he looks better now. Like he was like, nah. And I was like, nah, Yeah, it's better. This is where I'm like, okay, should I delete this underdrawing or keep it for like the making of? I'll keep it for the making of. I can get rid of the old. And what the hell is her name? I was gonna name her Treva because I had a coworker named Treva who was like, you should name her Treva. But now I'm like, do I want to name her Treva though? Because I don't know. No offense to Treva, but would I name someone Treva? Is she Treva? Or is she someone else? Okay. Oh, goodness. It's almost 2 a.m. I need to think about, because I need to remind myself of past lessons. Let's say that. Because at some point I realized that I shouldn't be zooming up that much, because I need to keep things in perspective, right? Because now that is worthless, what I just did. I'll go ahead and put everything I'm doing on a new layer so I can just get rid of it easily. So let's just keep it this big, and I'll just lean in. Because when people read it, it'll be like, what, this big? So let's just do like that. It's an interesting journey doing this whole thing and kind of putting yourself together. You're like simultaneously like discovering yourself in a little ways. You learn about your weaknesses. Then it's like you're building yourself a little bit. I don't know. That sounded better in my head. I guess what I'm saying is, if I didn't actually run in to Jeff Smith today, I wouldn't have picked up this bone book here. Sometimes you're reading that someone else's work and you see what works for them. You steal some mana. You steal some mana from those who you can derive influence from. Worthless, that whole bit. I was too lost in thought, and the underdrawing is not ideal for the face, so let's fix that. And I'm going to do it by no, I was going to switch to a different pen, but I'm not going to switch to a different pen. I want like a slightly downward angle. And I want people to find this guy interesting because he is sort of a main character. And this is when I realized what I was doing wrong, because I was making, like, the bottom of his face was facing this way, and then the front of his face was more like at an angle looking at you. It was very odd. talking to another guest today, and they brought up Idiocracy. I'm like, I'm the dummy having a bunch of kids at the beginning of Idiocracy. I keep fucking this up. Thing that I was forgetting, because I've mentioned this before, it's, whatever's going on in your imagination sort of leaks onto the page, or at least that's mine. Like, whatever I'm thinking about kind of leaks onto the page. And with that incomplete sort of image in my head of what this guy was supposed to look like, suddenly I'm like reinterpreting what he looks like. And I have to go back and remind myself what I liked about the design in the first place, and what's important about it. Like, that shape of the head, like, you got the ridges that come up off your eyebrows here, and for Batman it'll go right into the horns, but no one's allowed to have horns for Batman like that. Show me a character that does. I'm like, okay, but anytime anyone sees him, they're thinking about Batman, so. Once again, how much detail am I really trying to put into this guy? I'm gonna rename this video like Robot Struggle Session. Watch Will forget all the lessons he's taught himself about drawing. And instead try to fully render a small figure that the audience is going to barely notice. He really only needs to, like, give the impression. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to sit here and fully render all that out. And if my dad sees this, he's going to be like, maybe you should hire an artist. Maybe you should just hire somebody. Like, no, it's my dream. Don't you know what it takes to chase your dreams? You have to bare your soul on YouTube. while you flail around on your tablet, attempting to draw a robot that you'd conjured in your memory, a very brilliant android who looks like he's constantly scheming. Because he is. He is scheming. He's a schemer. One of these days I'm going to look up and I'm going to be like, oh, I had a viewer. They left a message in the chat. It said hi. Like, hi, little guy. Are you someone I know in real life that I pressured into subbing to my channel? Or are you a random internet stranger drawn here by my incredible talent, good looks, mustache? I can only imagine what that would feel like. But I'll look up and it'll say like, good job, or looks all right, or you should kill yourself. And I'll be like, there was someone here. Someone found out that I existed. Imagine that. Progress. And I'm going to have to figure out how much of this, because I feel like 50% of it needs to be black. That's something that I really need to get better at, is putting some blacks in. Look at this guy, just chilling with his lady. Probably synced their HUDs up. Maybe he's showing her something he's doing, you know? People still skateboard or hoverboard or whatever. Ooh, maybe I'll give him a real hoverboard. Maybe we'll make this like a straight up Back to the Future callback. Because I just won't put any wheels on this thing. There are still wheels on the bus, though. We haven't progressed beyond tires 30 years from now, unfortunately. Although maybe we have better suspensions. Maybe we can handle things better. So much to think about in the world of 2056. I'm realizing that all these girls have like some kind of ponytail. Like, is that just going to be a popular hairstyle? Am I going to explain that, or am I just going to put it in and hope people accept it? Is it something that I even really need to think about? I'm going to give her hair down. But I'm not going to make her look too interesting, because she is not a main character. She is insignificant. Not every girl needs to be stacked. Okay? I'll make her more reasonable than my main lady, who will be stacked. Let's not get distracted. Am I going to come back to this? Am I going to call that face a win for now? Hold on. So we went from that to this. Did I improve it or not? I'm going to say I did. I almost said that no. I almost liked my old drawing better. But I think once I fix, like, this eyebrow area, which might be fixable just by putting in a little bit more shadow there. Gosh, if I sit here and live stream for an hour and then draw something, then I'm just like, nope. Just crumple it up and throw it away. Like, so you have been working on this for years. You've just been fucking it up constantly. I mean, yeah, okay. But I'm getting better. And it's coming together. All right? And I'm not going to stop doing this, like, ever. All right, I'm going to hang it up there. I'll come back and do the legs later because I've been up a pretty long time. And this is like the most complex part of this thing that I really want to get right. Is the, I feel like I'm good at keeping things tight. Story, like no wasted pages. Nothing's wasted. I think this panel is a very good establishing shot for the sequence of events. So we got boom. We're having a conversation with our AI assistant. She's going to send us to a class. Okay. Then we're going to get to the bus. She's going to dance her way up to the bus stop where we see Hayden chilling there. Then our hero's coming. And then we see that this is where the android is. Sits down next to Hayden down here. Here, if anybody watches this, they'll get a sneak preview at what I have done right now as far as the first pages. Like, there's still so much work to be done, but really want to draw all this. Like, this page is going to be awesome. This page, like when I finally get a point where I'm drawing this panel, where I'm doing the final, when he's pulling the ground up, you know, his cracked mask. Anyway. All right. If you made it this far, the secret word is Arizona, and you can say it to, drop me Arizona, and I'll be like, hey, man. Oh, yeah, I don't have prizes. Sorry. I'll give you an autograph. No. Well, yeah, sure. Nobody wants my fucking autograph. Anyway, take care. Have a great night.